Dietmar Hamann made one or two observations, not about Rangers, but about Liverpool going into this, saying maybe Liverpool of late have lacked something of a spark. And Jurgen Klopp didn't really fancy that. And you'll hear that from Klopp in a second. So before we do, make of this what you will. This was Hamann on Liverpool of late.
You know, Arsenal yesterday in the second half was everything Liverpool was 4 or 5 years ago. They were breathtaking going forward. Every time they did go forward, there was intent. You felt something's going to happen. This Liverpool team looks tired. They look pedestrian, and they just look flat. And I'm not sure where the spark's going to come from.
I heard the phrase after the game against Arsenal used that Liverpool need a spark. What do you feel?
Who said that?
Didi Hamann.
Oh, great. He's a fantastic source. Well respected everywhere.
Former Liverpool midfielder, obviously.
That doesn't give you the right to say what you want, especially when you have no idea.
What I'm asking you, what do you feel that you need? I mean, where do you see a spark if it's a spark that you need?
I actually think Didi Hamann doesn't deserve that you to use his phrase to ask me a question. Do me a favor and ask your own question.
Wow. Do you know something? That's the first time I've heard that. I didn't realise it was as scathing as it was.
Well, I'll tell you what I do love about Klopp there, where he said to the journalist, use your own question, because all the journalist's trying to do is jump on the back of the name of Didi Hamann to provoke Klopp to get a reaction. It's just, be more intelligent than that.
It's not provoking in any shape or form.
Well, he is. He's using... Why?
It's a fair question. No, former Liverpool player...
He's repeating... Yeah, but have your own. Have your own. You can send a memo in a piece of paper with other people's quotes and questions. What's he doing there, the journalist? Is he that thick he can't make his own questions?
No, nothing to do with that, Danny.
He's just trying to be contentious.
You're missing the spot
altogether. He's trying to be contentious. But going back to the bit, I don't think...
Danny, I disagree with you there. I understand the point you're trying to make, but I understand the reasons why you're trying to make that point. But ultimately, when you do something like summary and corrective writing, you use a reference point, and you use it to a highlight example
Why
to
did
make
Klopp
the
then
points.
say ask your own question?
Because he didn't like the fabric of the question.
Well,
he doesn't like the subject matter. He doesn't like, perhaps, that Didi Hamann has been quite critical at times. He's ignoring the fact that Didi Hamann talks about 4 or 5 years ago they were irresistible and being irascible in reaction to the fact that he's got troubles on his hands at this moment in time. And we understand that, but you're a big boy, you're better than this, Jurgen. You get paid the big bucks to be able to deal with this stuff.
Exactly.
So deal with it.
No, and here's the thing, the journalist has got more credibility in his question by quoting Hamann. The journalist never kicked a ball in anger. And that's what Hamann played at the highest possible level.
The journalist had said this from his own position. Dollars for donuts, he'd have been pushed back with one of you played.
Well, we'll agree to disagree.
They can't win, can
There's two parts to the question. The first part about him responding to Dietmar Hamann in the first place, saying... fantastic source, well respected everywhere, in a sarcastic way. I think that was uncalled for. I don't think that's needed, because Jurgen Klopp is far more intelligent than that, and he doesn't need to be riled up by former players.
Why do you think he did it?
Because he's frustrated. He's on edge, isn't he? He looks edgy. He looks a bit like fractious. So I think he could have dealt with that better and just moved it on. Because what he doesn't want to do, every week he goes into press conferences, is start responding to what former Liverpool players have said. Because you'll always find someone who says something a little bit negative. Just actually, Dietmar, he's a friend of mine, he's a fantastic guy. I found it strange that
he's very blunt as well, and he's very honest.
He's very honest, but I don't know why he said 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, Liverpool was still playing that football last season, by the way. So... up until this season, he should have said they've been a bit...
But is he right, Danny? Have Liverpool lost something of a spark?
Well, I was going to say, what he said wasn't particularly wrong.
So what's up with Klopp?
As I just said, he's frustrated. He's fractious. He's edgy. He's not happy with what he's seeing. He wants to do better, and he's getting in front of the press and being agitated and saying things probably he wouldn't. Looking back, he thinks, why did I respond to that? But
was the response from Klopp not something somewhat embarrassing?
I don't think he'd be embarrassed by it.
He should have treated it better, should he not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Hamann's entitled to think what he thinks.
Yeah.
Because he's a Champions League winner and a favourite here at Liverpool. But what I would say is...
Yeah, but also...
Exactly. I'm trying to answer the question.
On the flip side of that argument, and not to be devil's advocate, just to run this argument, if he doesn't respect Didi Hamann's opinion, he can say that if he wants. If he doesn't think that he's a particularly good source and doesn't think that he's got anything to any one iota of understanding what it's like to manage a team, he is able to say that, and there is something about the fact that he's bitten back, and you'd like to think to yourself, you'd like to say to him, Jurgen, if you're giving people lessons, if that's what we're here to do, treat both imposters the same way. I didn't hear you struggling when you were getting loads of praise, so when people are pulling you up a little bit, wind your neck in and get on with it. But you either want to see these guys as they are, or you want to see the sanitised crap that we get out from Man United when you get Harry Maguire coming out or talking or something of that nature.
Don't you think that sometimes you're better having your bite or having a little dig at someone when things are going well? And when things are going badly, just keeping your counts and getting on. I just think that would be the more.
I do too, but I also think that I think that there is a part of me that would do the same thing as
Jurgen Klopp. I know what you mean.
Who are you, by the way? Yeah. And you know, and you might get to think about it afterwards and think, why did I give him the airtime? Why did I even give him the credence?
He tweeted you when I spoke to him up at Anfield not that long ago.
But they're human beings. And
you didn't like that.
What are you talking about? In terms of he doesn't like my opinion, that's fine. He doesn't like my opinion. I couldn't care less whether he likes my opinion or not. I don't give an opinion. So Jurgen Klopp likes it, and I'm pretty sure that Didi Hamann doesn't give an opinion because Jurgen Klopp likes it. We're not in the business of currying favour with people.
Exactly.
You're in the business of saying something.
So get back to the square root of one.
Klopp,
the journalist quoting Hamann was right to quote Hamann.
I don't think so, but that's my opinion. I think a journalist should be better than that. And hence the fact Jurgen Klopp should ask you a question, because he'd have known what a man had already said.
But I don't want to be pedantic, but why should a journalist not reference a salient point? You've got an ex-midfield player talking about a specific, and that is
because
your
it's
reference
too easy.
point. What's easy about it? Do your research, get the guy to do it, bring it into the conversation, have the balls to answer it, put it to the manager.
Because if the journalist asked it without referencing Hamann, Liverpool have lost something of their spark, have they not, Jurgen? Really? Well, when did you play at the highest level?
Well, now you're guessing what he would have said.
Well, there's a possibility that would happen, but the bottom line is
Hamann did.
What we've got is Jurgen. The real
I understand why he did it.
Doesn't
I think it's lazy.
Jurgen Klopp doesn't like the dynamics of what's being asked of him.
I get that.
Because he's not able to dictate the pace of a press conference anymore. He's not able to control it. He's not able to give everybody a lecture, which he does previously. He's not able to pontificate on how people should see the world. And he's now in a situation where he's under a little bit of pressure. And what we want to see from Jurgen Klopp is the same robustness in terms of how he embraced success as he embraced potential challenges. Because that's the measure of a man. A football man sometimes wants it one way. We look at Jurgen Klopp as a bit better sometimes because he was great during COVID, talked about things that had such sense and common sense, such balance and poise. These are the moments when you judge a man's character. You've got some troubles on your hands. We're all looking at you now. We're talking about 7-year bumps. We're talking about irascibility. We're talking about decision-making processes that you possibly have been complicit in allowing teams to perhaps stagnate. Away you go, son. Let's have a better answer.
But that's what I said to you.
Blame the questioner.
But that's what I said. I liked one part of it and I didn't like the other. You know, so I said that at the beginning. I thought it was right what he said to the journalist, but in terms of the way he responded to Dietmar, I think he could have dealt. I'm with you, Jim. I think he could have dealt with that a lot better.
Or maybe put that out there. What do we think? Do you think the journalist was right to reference Hamann in the build-up to a question to Klopp about why Liverpool have somewhat lost their spark? Was it a fair question? Have they lost their spark?
But we haven't got an answer. And that's the most important part.
And should Klopp have answered it better? Because we're still waiting for an answer from Jurgen Klopp on the. He didn't give us an answer.
Well, because the journalist didn't ask him a question he thought of on his own.
But there was an answer there. Have you lost a spark?
But there wasn't an answer there. Yes or no, have you lost your spark?
And we lost the answers to the question.
Exactly.
Which is the most pertinent part.
That's politics.
It's deflection.
We might hear a bit from. Interesting to get a take on that from one or two people listening this morning.
Yeah, it'll be journalists coming in.
8 10 89.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.